So in the last session we have seen that the basics of annotations in TestNG, and we created number of classes over there. We have seen the define the priorities and all, and how exactly number of test cases are getting executed on the basis of the priority. So some of the features we will discuss about TestNG now, that is, let's see, groups in TestNG. So I'll write, let's see, TestNG groups, and in TestNG groups, let's see, what do you mean by groups? Groups means defining the different groups. Let's see, I have one method, one test method, let's see, public void logo test. Okay, and system.out.println. I'm not writing Selenium code. Logo test. So let's see, I have these different methods are available in TestNG groups, and different methods. Let's see, this is logo test. This is search. This is registration. This is login, and let's see, this is sign up test. Okay, so what I want that 3 plus 2 5 test cases are there. I want to define the grouping, right? So I can define that so one keyword is there, groups keyword is there. Okay, groups is equal to, so this logo test is related to, let's see, like this, you have to define groups is equal to logo test is on, let's see, login, or let's see, home page. The group name is home page. This particular group is, I'll write like this. This is search related, is related to, let's see, search, and this is related to, let's see, logo is available on search test, home page test, I'll write, and home page test is again related to home page, or let's see, this is registration test, and registration is related to, let's see, registration page. So you can give any group name, it's not compulsory. I'm just giving some random group name. This is for login test, and it is related to login, and sign up is also somewhere related to login page, and this is for sign up. Okay, so I have defined different grouping, that these two test cases are related to login. Okay, this is related to registration, search page, and home page. And if you run this program, it will execute all the test cases. It will execute all the test cases. But if you see the report, okay, here you won't see any grouping report. But if you see the actual TestNG report, I'll refresh my page, I mean my project, and go to index.html. If you see, 5 methods are there and 4 groups are there. You can see 4 groups. So registration page having 1 test, home page having 1 test, login having 2 test cases, search page, search test. So you can define the modules, that login page module having 2 test cases, or maybe 10 test cases, search is having around 10 test cases. So module wise also you can generate the report wise. So group wise also you can execute your test cases. Okay, the group wise also you can execute your test cases, and it will generate the report like this. So this is a concept of group, and which is defined by one keyword is there, groups keyword is there. Okay, keyword is there, groups keyword. If you want to define priority, comma, priority is equal to 1. Like this also you can define. Comma separated keywords you have to give. Okay, for TestNG @test annotation. Now, yeah.
So I have a question here. Can we group the tests at the same page?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Can we group can we group the tests at the same page? For example, when we create the whenever there's a framework, it's going to one-to-one mapping, right?
Yeah, so you can do that. It's not like one-to-one mapping. It doesn't matter. Simple, you are just giving some custom group name. If you feel that okay, these two test cases should be related to this specific group, you can give the same group name. This is just for module wise. For a single module having number of test cases, it's nothing related to page object model or something like that. It's up to you. Whatever the group name you want to give, you can give any group name. You feel that okay, these 4 test cases are related to home page, you can give groups equal to home page.
Yeah. Okay.
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 Now, one thing is there, that is, let's see, I have a very important concept for interview point of view sometimes. Dependency in TestNG. Let's see, I have one @test public void test1 method is there. I have another method is there, public void test2. Okay, but the problem here is that I want to define that test2 is totally dependent on test1, right? It means test2 is having dependency on test1. So inside the bracket, what you have to write, we have this method depends on methods. Depends on methods is equal to, what is your method name? My method name is test1. It means this particular method is totally depends on test1. Now in test1, what I'll do, I intentionally I'll fail this assert true. I'll write, let's see, true. I'll intentionally pass it. Okay, by default this particular test case will be passed. System.out.println and then assert true. It means this particular test case will be passed. And then it will come over here inside the test2 method. It says that okay, it's see depends on method equal to test1. It's totally dependent on this particular method, and it depends if this method is getting passed, then only this particular method will be executed. Okay, if this test case is getting failed, this particular test case will not be executed. Okay, so let's run it and we will see the difference. Right, test1 and test2 both are getting executed, test1 and test2. Now what I'll do, I'll make it false, I'll make it fail. Assert true, it will be failed, so test1 will be failed. The moment it fails, it will come over here, it will check that okay, test2, oh, it depends on test1, but test1 is getting failed, so no need to execute this test case. You can use this concept in, let's see, login. If login is getting failed, you are not able to log into the application, right? There is no point to execute other test cases after login. It means my all the test cases are dependent on login. If login is fine, then only you should proceed further, otherwise you should not. Okay, so if you run this program, now this is getting failed and test2 will be ignored, now will be skipped. See, it did not execute test2, and simply say that okay, test1 got failed and two test cases are there, one failure and one skipped. It means test case number 2 got skipped. If you see, test 1 accepted true but found false. Test 2, it says that okay, dependency in TestNG exception. Why? Because it's totally dependent on test 1 and test 1 is getting failed. So this is the concept of depends on methods. Okay, you can define the dependency like this. Okay. Next concept is ignore test cases. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so let's see, I have multiple test cases. Okay, test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5, and test 6. 6 test cases I have. If you run it, all the test cases are getting executed. What happened? Sometimes TestNG get does not give proper because all the it says that okay all the methods are exactly same, so it's called its internal reflection API. Now it's running properly. Okay, so test are running fine. Okay, so all the 6 test cases got passed. Now what is the point here is I want to ignore some of the test cases. I don't have time. Your manager says that okay, fine, that out of 100 test cases only execute only important one, or you can ignore some test cases, or maybe some test cases are not working properly or it's not fully ready, so you can ignore the test case instead of deleting that test case. So how to ignore? Let's say I don't want to execute test case number 2. So simple, you will write one keyword is there, enabled is equal to false. 2 also and 4 also I don't want to execute. Enabled is equal to false. And okay, so 2 and second and 4 test cases I don't want to execute, so it will be ignored. So now if you run it, okay, only 4 test cases are running, and if you see the result, 1 1 3 5 6, 2 and 4 got ignored, right? So this is the concept of ignoring. How to ignore test cases? So enabled equal to true and false you have to use like this. Okay, enabled keyword is there. It is very useful keyword, guys. You can skip the test cases with enable like this. Sorry. Okay. Okay.
Naveen, should it follow to the logical sequence? For example, if one test case is not there, and if it's not passing to the next one, how it's gonna behave then?
So if you don't define the priority, it will check one by one. It will check on the basis of alphabetic character first. Okay. If okay, all the test cases are starting with T, now it will be executing in the sequencing order. But the moment it sees that okay, enabled equal to false, it will be ignored immediately. Okay, but if you don't give priority, then it will be executed on the basis of the alphabetic order. Sorry. Now one more thing is there in TestNG. Invocation count. I have one test case at the rate test public void search test.
Naveen, I have one question.
Go ahead.
As you told that it will go by alphabetical order, but when we create the method, like when I create like public void or setup or public void login, so in that case we have to use priority, right?
It's up to you if you want to, and priority will be defined only and only for at the rate test annotation, not for setup or tear down method. Okay, setup and tear down methods were for before method and after method, right? These are
Yeah.
at the rate before and at the rate after. So priority is not applicable for those methods. Priority is applicable only and only for at the rate test annotations. If you don't define the priority, it will choose the sequence on the basis of alphabetic order.
So in that case we can use priority.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's up to you. Okay, it's up to you. If you really define to priority, you can define. If you don't want to define the priority, TestNG will pick on the basis of alphabetic.
Okay.
Right? So I have this particular test. I want the same test case should be executed multiple times. So we have sometimes, let's see, we want to keep the data. Sorry, guys, please be on mute. Okay. Now the concept here is that okay, search test I want to execute multiple times. Sometimes let's say we have to create the data or whatever, like any method I want to create number of times. Same test case again and again. Right? So we can do one thing that at the rate test invocation count is equal to let's see 5. Invocation count is equal to 5 means this particular test case will be executed 5 times. Now if you run it, see it got executed 5 times. See, if you see the results, 1 by 5, 2 by 5, 3 by 5, 4 by 5 and 5 by 5. So invocation count sometimes we can use to create the data or something like this. So invocation count is used for that.
Naveen,
Yeah.
I have a question. So, in Amazon.com or Google.com, if you search something and then you get the number of results, how to write code for that in Selenium?
Sorry,
How
what?
many results?
Sorry, what?
So how many results? Like if you search something in Amazon,
Why it is related to
then
testing?
you.
Is it not related
Sorry,
to is it related to TestNG?
I'm not sure. I'm just asking.
No, but it is not related to TestNG, right? We are talking about TestNG only today.
Okay, okay, sure.
Yeah, that's a separate discussion that in Amazon.com some scenario is there. That's a different.
Okay,
Okay. So that's why like better to don't ask such questions during some specific topic. Ask if you have any doubt in TestNG only. Those topics,
okay.
those questions we will cover it later. Okay. So this is invocation count. Now one thing is there that sometimes they might ask you at a time of interview. See, I'm covering all these small features of TestNG. Public void. Let's see, my method name is logo test, and logo test is written like this. I have invocation timeout. Just a minute. Timeout is equal to, let's see, 10 seconds you have given like this. It means we have given the time limit for this particular test case, although we never use in Selenium because you never know how much time it will take. But we can give the timeout. Okay, that timeout is equal to 10. That this particular test case should not, okay, take more than 10 seconds. It should be executed within 10 seconds. If it is taking more than 10 seconds, it will give you timeout exception. Okay, it will give you timeout exception. So this is the feature of timeout. Okay, that this particular test case is getting executed or invoked, it should be executed within the given limit. If you have given the limit as, let's see, 5 seconds, it should be executed. It's compulsory. TestNG will not go beyond 5 seconds. Immediately it will be ignored. I mean, immediately it will be failed if it's taking more than 5 seconds or 10 seconds. What are the number of times we have defined over there? Okay, so timeout is also there. Sometimes what happens, sometimes we stuck with the infinite loop, or maybe some yeah, like infinite loop is there, and your program, the test case is getting executing again and again and again for longer hours. So for those test cases we can define, okay, this particular logic that, okay, timeout equal to 10 or maybe timeout equal to 5 minutes. It should not take more than 5 minutes, something like this. And then okay, so TestNG will not go beyond that particular time limit. The test case should be executed within the time, that is timeout is there. Okay. Now we have one standard thing in TestNG. Always remember, guys. What I'll do inside SRC, I'll create one one source folder. Let's see, my source folder is resources. Under the resources, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a file. The file name is testng.xml file. Don't change. Okay, you can change the name. It's up to you, whatever that name you want to give. TestNG.xml generally we give, and click on finish. So this is a template file. This is a running template file. Okay, and this is an XML file. So what we have to do in this particular TestNG.xml, we have to, I'll show you what is the format. Okay, so what we have to do, this is the format, this is a template you have to copy paste always. In this particular template we have number of things, starting with XML annotations that, okay, this is the XML version, doc type or some blah blah blah, and then the three different things are there at the suite level, test case level, and the class level. So what is your suite name? You can give any name. Let's see, you can give, let's see, my Selenium test automation test suite, whatever the name you want to give, the test suite name you can give. What is your test name? My test name is, let's see, my app test cases. What are your different classes you have to execute? So we have created so many classes, right guys? Dependency. Okay, this is a test, this is a class we have created. Okay, home page test, ignore test, invocation, blah blah blah. So many 100 test classes I have. So it's not like that every time I'll open a class and then I'll execute, right? I cannot do that if you 100 classes are there. So I need one entity or one file system where I can define all the classes over there, and I just need to execute that class and it will trigger all the test classes over there, right? So let's see, where are my classes? So these are my classes that, okay. What is the class name? Class name is equal to, this is my class name. So I'll copy, I'll go to properties. So what we have to do, we have to give the package name dot class name. So the package name is this, TestNG. I'll give you how to write C. Just a minute. So like this you have to give TestNG and dot you have to give. Don't put slash. TestNG dot dependency TestNG. TestNG dot, what is the next class name? Home page test. Home page test. Okay, so always remember guys, if you have package name package name dot class name you have to give like this. Next is ignore test cases. One thing. So we have 6 classes, 4, 5, 6. Home page test, and after that ignore test cases. Ignore test cases, after that invocation count. Invocation count, and then TestNG basics. TestNG basics, and then TestNG groups. Okay, so one by one all the classes I have given over here. Sorry. Now what we have to do, now no need to execute all these classes. Okay, so you can execute directly to this TestNG.xml file. You right click, run as TestNG suite. So see, all my test cases are running, and in some classes, remember home page test or other classes, we have written Selenium code also. It's running Selenium test cases also. See this particular test case getting executed. Okay, one more test case is there. And I think the last one, I guess. You can check the console. It's executing all the things over here. So if you see, all the test case report is there. How many classes were there? See, if you see, that is the suite name we have given, my Selenium test automation test suite, my app test cases, TestNG dependency, TestNG first class. This is then second class, third class, fourth, fifth, and sixth one. Each and every class having its own test cases. Verify page title test, verify free CRM logo test. So you're getting a proper report like this. So no need to execute individual classes again and again. Okay, that's right. Tomorrow you want to ignore some of the test classes, you can ignore it. You can comment it. I don't want to execute, let's see, invocation count. I don't want to execute this, so you can ignore it. Simple, press Control Shift F. Oh, sorry, Control Shift /. Oh, sorry, like this. So this particular class will be ignored. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Naveen, is it the same page where we're writing the dependencies, like the TestNG and all those? Or is it different version of that?
No, we are not defining a dependency over here. We are just giving the class names over here. That's it.
No, I understand that. My question is, are we gonna write the same code to the same page where we are writing the dependencies, or is it a separate file?
Why it is related to dependency? I didn't get you. What do you mean by dependency here?
Now, for example, whenever we do a framework, we're gonna write the dependencies to the XML file, right?
Oh,
Maybe
yes.
the TestNG and all those.
Yes, yes.
Are we writing the same page?
Yes, exactly. Yes, same way you have to write.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Naveen?
Okay, so this is like, yeah, go ahead.
Naveen, if any of the class means if there is an error in any of the class, or if any of the class fails, so it will execute other classes, or it will stop executing at that point?
No, see, this particular class got failed. So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's executing other things also.
No, if there is any error in the class, suppose if there is any
Whatever.
exception, means
Any exception, any assertion, any error, nothing. I mean, it does not impact the other classes. So that's why we always recommend to write your test cases in different classes. Okay, class wise.
okay.
Okay. So these are the different features of TestNG, guys. Tomorrow I'm going to cover data providers in TestNG. Okay, data provider, and we can see immediately extent report we will see with the framework. So tomorrow we will be completing TestNG session fully. And
Is there any rules for to create the suite name and the test name on the top on your screen?
is there any, sorry?
The suite name, like my Selenium test automation, how we create? Is there any rules for to create this one?
No, you can give any name. There are no rules. And first of all, it's not shoot, it's a suite. We call in TestNG, we call suite, test suite. We pronounce like this, suite. Okay, test suite. It's not suite. Okay, just to correct some people, they say that okay, test suite. It's not test suite. It's test suite. Or there is no such regulations that no, you have to give some name or some. You can give any name. It's up to you. You can write Naveen test automation test suite. Whatever the name you want to give, you can give any name. You can give. Okay. So guys, TestNG looks easy, but it's very vast. So I would advise you one thing, guys. Please practice a lot with TestNG, that they will ask you all these questions. They will ask you what is dependency, what is grouping, what is invocation count, what is how to ignore the test cases, what is priority keyword, okay, data providers and all such stuff. Data provider, obviously, it's a very important topic. We will cover tomorrow with the Excel file and all those things. We will cover data providers, parameters, okay, parameterization in TestNG. What is TestNG.xml file? What is a format? So you have to define the format, like first at suite level, then test level, and then class level. Okay. So please practice with TestNG. I'll send you this recording and the code. I'm going to check in. And guys, please download all the recordings from there. And can you please let me know that which file doesn't have download option? So just someone message me. Immediately I'll give the download. Okay, I'll enable the download for that.
Naveen, I send you an email. I think 6 and 7 I couldn't download.
6 and 7. Okay.